estate investing and network with other investors without having a sales pitch involved each time, without the boot camp or the book and tape set or the upsell of the week that came in. So at any of our different FIBI chapters throughout Southern California, you will find no sales pitch. It will just strictly be education, and that's really what we're all about here. And so we are technically a not-for-profit organization, and we are in the process of adding more chapters in different areas and really expanding in a lot of different ways and trying to help as many people as we can throughout this process. So thank you guys very much for coming today. We really appreciate your support and interest in the different topics that we bring up. We have tons of different topics, from self-directed retirement accounts to flipping properties to investing in notes to multifamily, anything you can think of associated with real estate. We've probably done a topic on it. We've been doing this since, what, 2008 or 9 right now, since for this group? 2012. 2012, okay. The Long Beach one was 2008, that's right. So, and FIBI's been around since, I believe, 2007, okay. So, and I started Long Beach in 2008, and then we started this one in 2012, and it's grown, as you guys can see. Obviously, we have a little bit bigger crowd, given the interesting topics and the new laws and things like that have come out, and I think it's going to be an interesting topic to discuss with everybody here with a lot of experience in the panel. So, Dave, you want to talk about this group a little bit more, and then also give a shout out to some of our sponsors.
You bet. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
All right, good. Thank you for coming. I'm sure it was a real arm twist to get you to come listen to a panel on cannabis. It's hard to say. But thank you guys for coming out. As Matt mentioned, we've been doing this for since 2012. This is our 5th year that we've been running this group. We always do a panel format, so we always call ourselves FIBI Unplugged. Right? These guys don't have a canned presentation they're making. They're here to answer questions and have a discussion about cannabis. Matt and I will drive that, but if you guys have a question, feel free to raise your hands. We'll get to as many questions as we can. As we always ask, if you've got a very detailed question about your situation, save that one for after the panel. After we're done here, we're all going to go across the courtyard to North Italia, and we have the outdoor patio reserved. We've got a bunch of food that we ordered. It's a cash bar. Get something to drink. All 3 of these guys are going to join us, and that's the time to ask a question you have about a very personal situation that you may have. We've got a panel in February that we are putting up. Is it up tomorrow?
Oh, it's up, yeah, maybe.
I think it's going to be up tomorrow. So the panel in February is going to be all on short-term rentals, right? So a lot of people have been asking about Airbnb as a way instead of doing long-term rentals. And as you know, that is an equally charged subject right now, not just in California, but all around the country. So we're going to have a panel on that next month, and we hope you can join us for that. As Matt mentioned, we do have some sponsors. That's, Matt and I clearly are not into FIBI for the money. It's all about the networking and the education. So your $20 is what we ask, but to help cover the cost of the meeting, we do have some sponsors. UDirect IRA, is Jeff here? I haven't seen him. Yeah, I think he was busy networking all day and blew his voice out or something, I heard. So, UDirect IRA, Andrew Wesley with Walker Dunlop is a sponsor. Kyle Mealy with the South Bay Tax and Financial Group. Stephen Spear, Spear Woodward's a local law firm that does a lot of real estate. And actually, one of their attorneys is going to be a panelist next month on the short-term rentals. And then Deep from New Western their company is a professional wholesale group. So
We also have a note assistance program to sponsor as well here. So.
The note assistance program?
Natasha runs the note assistance program with Jasmine Willows, and they invest in non-performing paper, so it's pretty interesting stuff.
Awesome, welcome, thank you. Okay, just so you guys know, we are here purely as investors, fellow investors. Nothing, even though we have an attorney and a CPA up here, this is not expected to be legal or financial advice. This is purely for your information. So if you do have questions about your situation, we definitely advise you to find the right counsel. And if you need a recommendation on someone, let us know. We'll point you in the right direction. All right, so tonight's topic is all about cannabis and real estate. And this, with it just becoming legal here in California, we figured this was a good time. Everyone is out there pitching, this deal, that deal, and just trying to pull a panel together where we can talk about the laws behind this, and we think we've got a really an interesting blend on a panel tonight. Ken here is an attorney that specializes in the vertical law for cannabis. Vanita does business evaluations and helps sells companies, and her specialty is helping to evaluate cannabis companies. And then Jason is actually a multifamily investor, but he's been investing in some different cannabis deals and leading some deals, mostly in Colorado. So we've got three interesting perspectives on this, and we hope it's going to generate a really good conversation. So to get started, Ken, why don't you start off? Give us a 3-minute overview of kind of who you are and your background, and we'll go from there.
Sure, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for coming tonight, and thanks very much for having me. So my name is Ken Burke, I'm an attorney, but I'm also a co-founder and president of a company called PayQuick, and we are a closed-loop payment processing hub for the cannabis industry. Forbes magazine calls us PayPal for pot. We've been in operation in Washington State for the last 2.5 years, and we provide electronic payments for the cannabis industry. We've been through both the Friends and Family round, Herbal Note round, and the Series A round when it comes to investing. So I can certainly talk about the investing side of the house, as well as the patient side and the legal side.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Vanita Spalding. I've been doing business valuation for a variety of companies for 35 years, and it's something I just love to do. I find it amazingly interesting. 3 years ago, I got interested in the cannabis business, but as a business valuator, and have been doing an increasing number of business valuations for cannabis companies since then, from very simple to very complex grow operations in California and many other states. Shareholder disputes over the ownership of a cannabis company, whether it's a dispensary or something much more complex, distilling companies, ethanol labs, and so an amazing background in some very interesting companies. So I'm glad to be here to talk about the business valuation side. And we're going to talk about laws. Ken's going to talk about the laws. I can talk to you about when a law changes or regulation changes or the tax changes. I can tell you about a tax that just is new for California as of today. There's a new tax on wet flower instead of dry flower, in addition to the tax on dry flower. So if you ask us what the regulations and laws are today, it'll be different tomorrow. So we can only tell you what's happening to our knowledge now. Anyway, happy to be here.
Vanita literally walked up with her cell phone. She's like, "Look, there's a new law today."
I showed it.
Jason.
My name is Jason Post, president of a company called Post Investment Group based in Los Angeles, Century City. We're an 11-year-old real estate investment company. We currently have about 10,500 apartment units. We're in 11 states, 20 plus cities. About 3 years ago, got turned on to the cannabis space. 2.5 years ago, bought an industrial warehouse in Colorado. About a year and a half ago, we were licensed, built out, and got into the cannabis business. So we have a 21,000 square foot industrial cannabis cultivation and extraction business with a brand in Denver, and now we have also up in Oakland. We own a 75,000 square foot industrial warehouse with cultivation, extraction, and distribution license attached to it, which is also now up and running. And we have a brand called 710 Labs, so specialty is oil extracts for some cultural, this concept of dabbing in the cannabis business. I can add, where these guys, where Ken can talk about the legal side and you can talk about regulations, I can give you 1,000 reasons why you should not get into the cannabis business.
And incidentally, 710 spelled backwards is oil, so that's why it's 710, like you've heard 420. 710 is a similar number for that cannabis space.
Nice. My name is Matthew Owens. I'm a California licensed CPA and full-time investor. I flip around 5 to 10 houses a month. We've flipped over 600 houses in the last 10 years. We do a lot of value-add multifamily properties. We do a lot of private lending to other flippers. We invest and raise capital for different syndicated investments I do have a small short-term rental business as well. I sit down with a lot of clients and help them with their financial situation, their investment planning, and their goals and things like that as it relates to real estate investing, and just help them any way I can. So I love doing this stuff. It's great to be able to teach other people how investing works and bring really intelligent people up to be able to educate everybody else in the room as well with regard to new topics and discussions that we have.
David Co, real estate team. This is my office here, Keller Williams. My day job is a residential realtor, mostly here in the South Bay. We specialize in dealing with stress, which sometimes are the people, sometimes it's the building, usually it's both, because those two tend to go hand in hand. And then as an investor, I've been investing for years. We did some high-end fixing and flipping. Actually, Jason's company was a lender for a project we did up in Hollywood and with the other things they do in their world. I'm involved in non-performing notes. I also run a couple of funds that invest for cash flow with some high net wealth individuals, and been investing with this guy for years. So we tend to, when we're dealing with investors, look at a range of different investing. We always tell people the right investment for you is the wrong investment for someone else. So you have to understand what your goals are and then find investments that fit solve your goals. So that's our background. I think we've got an experienced panel tonight. I'm really excited. And Ken, we're going to kind of start off the panel with you. Well, the first question that Matt wrote that I actually edited when he sent me the questions was, where do you get the good shit? So, let's just all have a laugh and get that out of the way. Clearly these guys all know where to get the good pot. Let's just move on. 710 cannabis. That's right. That's the boy. So let's talk about 2018. January 1st, we had a change here in California. Talk about what happened legally here in California.
Sure. So January 1, it became legal for a licensed business to grow, distribute, manufacture, and sell cannabis. And the state has issued between 400 and 500 provisional licenses right now. None in Los Angeles. The closest retail store is in Santa Ana, I believe. So as many of you know, medical cannabis has been legal since 1996 in California. But now with the adult use side, it allows anyone over 21 to go into a retail store and purchase cannabis. And then the licensing scheme, there's 20 different licenses depending on the size and what you're trying to do. But they basically break down into cultivation, manufacturing, diffusion, making edibles and oils and that type of thing, distribution, and retail. And retail allows for both a brick and mortar store that has customers come in, and there are retail licenses for delivery services, which means that you have to have a physical location, but you don't need to accept the public through your door. You can do exclusively delivery. So that's an overview. That's basically what's happened, and the state is scrambling to catch up with all of the applications. People who've been in this industry for generations, either legally or illegally, are also trying to catch up, get their applications submitted, and get their licenses. So that's basically what happened January 1.
And Vanita, like January 1st, everything was set. They had all the laws figured out, all the taxes. Nothing's going to change, right?
This is California. Nothing was figured out. But one of the things we should remember is that January 1 wasn't the first time that pot was legal in California. It's been legal for 20 years for medical purposes. So you've had dispensaries and medical marijuana business for 20 years. It was the first in the United States to allow that. So cannabis at some level has been legal in California for many years before this. But this is going to be much bigger and much more highly regulated, which is why it's taking so long to get it done. Luckily, we have Colorado to look at, Washington and Oregon to look at, and figure out what went right in those states and what went wrong and what might work really well for California. I think the biggest problem for California is that we are so big. We're like a country. So the other states are small, very small by comparison. So it's like setting the regulations for a country in a year, and it doesn't work well that quickly.
So Jason, you've got a place in Oakland, so clearly you've been working on this for a while. Like when did you start preparing to launch everything in California?
Yeah, so me start with why we chose Colorado first. Our facility's been there longer because of the regulations. So California, the forefront in the country, 1996, the voters passed a medicinal voter-based initiative to legalize medical marijuana. We've been a state with 0 state regulations for 21 years. We just finally had them put in place. It's just, the analogy I can draw to that is like having cars for 20 years on the road with no regulation whatsoever. It's chaos. You've got law enforcement that are knocking on people's doors, arresting them, not being able to charge them with a crime. It's total chaos, and it's an embarrassment for the state of California to take that long. And then you've got states like Washington State, Oregon, Colorado that have surpassed us. But there's no doubt California is going to be ground zero for global pot ultimately. So, one thing I'd like to add anecdotally is that the state is really working hard to regulating the state of California. I got calls literally New Year's Eve weekend from Sacramento state employees from the Bureau of Cannabis Control calling me, asking me questions on our application because they wanted to make sure people got licensed very quickly, literally on Saturday and Sunday of New Year's Eve weekend. So they're working really hard with the state. It's the only bureaucracy I've ever had to worry about. So we got into California. I bought a building up in Oakland, a 75,000 square foot industrial campus in October of 2016. We started construction in March. We got our CO last week. We started cultivating with a temporary certificate of occupancy in December. We have started generating revenue. We're all cash, unfortunately, for the most part. Cash is being stored in the safe, not ideal with best business practices. We are digesting the regulations, everything from packaging and labeling, the label inserts, manifesting. It's chaos. It's crazy. It's keeping my team on overtime. Payroll's through the roof, but we're working through it, figuring it out.
So thanks for that. That's actually great information. What does it take when you're actually going through the licensing hoops and jumping through those hoops? What does it look like as far as, cost and time and things like that to get this going? I would assume, you have a lot of people applying and a lot of people being denied. What kind of things they're looking at when they're trying to allow licensing to occur?
So you've got states like California, you've got states like Ohio, that's an oligopoly, Florida, oligopoly. There's only 10, 20 licenses that are issued in those states, and the application process is tedious, it's expensive, and there's a very low rate of success of being issued a license. In the state of California, they are issuing, for all I know, unlimited amount of licenses. There's no limit. It's really more of a zoning issue, believe it or not. They're also going to make sure there's no bad actors that get into the space. You've got to go through criminal FBI background checks with fingerprinting. But in the state of California, there's no limit. So the state of California actually technically has not issued a license yet. They've issued what's provisional licenses. They're temporary licenses, which are good for 120 days. And in that 120-day process period, you've got to submit your full application. I don't know anyone that's done that yet. Maybe some. I don't even know if the full application's come out yet. There's regulations that are supposed to be in effect January 1st. They're not enforcing them for 6 months for certain things. And there's going to be these metric programs which track and trace your product sales, but it's really the honor system now. So it's chaos at the moment, but it's an organized version of chaos. And there's a lot of people operating under the old gray market kind of collective rules that will no longer exist soon. But it's an unlimited number of licenses. It's really real estate zoning based. You've got setbacks. The hardest part about getting our license is that we needed to. So this is what's so crazy about this business. And LA is going to totally screw this up. In the city of Oakland, we went through something very similar. So it's called a social equity component to the application process, meaning that in the city of LA, City Council wants to make sure that people that have been historically discriminated against get licenses first. And I'll tell you who those people are. They have to live in a certain police beat that's been historically heavy crime. You're talking literally like South Central Los Angeles. They have to have been convicted of a cannabis-related crime in the past. They have to, so this individual literally needs to write a business plan, raise money, submit an application, pass, they have to have had a criminal conviction for cannabis, but maybe not like a felony, maybe they didn't rob a bank, I don't know, right? So it's, so we went through this process in the city of Oakland. It wasn't quite as extreme. We just needed someone that was disadvantaged, maybe 80% of the area needed income, and that didn't open and discriminated against police abuse for 10 years.